They told the Triplet Alpha Kings to choose.
Anyone. Anyone but me. I wasn't supposed to be here. Not in this glass-walled conference room on the 53rd floor of the Jeon Corporate Tower in the heart of Gangnam. Not standing in a line of 20 perfectly polished omegas who smelled like expensive perfume and old money. And definitely not 3 months pregnant with a child no one was supposed to know about. But here I was, trying not to throw up on my borrowed shoes. My name is Kang Minho, 24 years old, university dropout, part-time convenience store clerk, full-time disaster. And the father of my baby? Gone. Vanished the moment I told him I was pregnant. Left me with nothing but a lease I couldn't afford and a voicemail I still haven't deleted. I kept it because sometimes I need to remind myself that I'm not crazy, that he was real, that this was real. I pressed my palm against my stomach, hidden under an oversized black blazer I'd borrowed from my friend Jiho, and felt the slight swell beneath. Not now, baby. Please, not now. The Omega beside me, a tall, graceful man with silver hair and a Cartier watch, glanced down at my midsection, then at my scuffed sneakers, then away. Like I was something unpleasant he'd stepped in. I bit the inside of my cheek and focused on the floor-to-ceiling windows behind the long conference table. Seoul stretched out below us, neon signs bleeding into rain-slicked streets, the Han River winding through the city like a silver scar. Beautiful, cold, indifferent. Just like everyone in this room. "Straighten up," someone hissed beside me. I snapped my gaze forward. The doors at the far end of the room opened, and the air changed. It wasn't just the scent, cedar and smoke and something darker, something that made my hindbrain scream danger and safety at the same time. It was the weight. Like gravity had shifted, like the entire room had tilted toward them. The Jeon triplets. I'd seen their faces on billboards, magazine covers, news articles about corporate acquisitions and billion-won deals, but nothing prepared me for them in person. The first one through the door was the tallest, Jeon Hajoon, broad-shouldered, sharp-jawed, dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my rent. His eyes swept the room with the kind of cold assessment that made grown men flinch. Alpha, dominant, dangerous. Behind him came Jeon Sung-hyun, smaller, leaner, but no less intimidating. His gaze was surgical, calculating, the kind of man who saw 3 steps ahead and 10 moves beyond that. And then, Jeon Hajoon, the youngest. He moved like water, quiet, graceful, but there was something unsettling in his stillness, like a blade hidden in silk. His eyes were the darkest I'd ever seen, and they swept over the line of omegas like he was searching for something. Or someone. I dropped my gaze to the floor. "Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't." "Gentlemen," the moderator began, a beta woman in a crisp navy suit standing at the head of the table. "Welcome. As you know, the council has arranged this selection to fulfill the terms of your late father's will. You are required to choose a mate, one Omega, to secure the succession of Jeon Industries." Taejin's jaw tightened. Sunghyun didn't react. Hajoon tilted his head slightly, still scanning. "Each Omega here has been vetted," the moderator continued. "Bloodlines verified. Financial stability confirmed. All are unbonded, unmated, and," coldly, "cutting, and pre-approved by the council," Taejin finished. His voice was low, controlled, but there was an edge beneath it. "Meaning you've already decided who we're allowed to choose." The moderator's smile didn't falter. The council simply wants to ensure the best possible match for understood. Taejin's gaze swept the line. He didn't linger on anyone. Sunghyun stepped forward, hands in his pockets, expression unreadable. His eyes moved methodically, left to right, face to face.
Clinical. Detached. When his gaze landed on me, I felt it like a hand around my throat. He saw me. Not the blazer, not the borrowed confidence. Me. And then he frowned, just slightly, like something didn't add up. I forced myself to breathe. He doesn't know. He can't know. Hajoon moved last, slower, more deliberate. He walked the length of the line, and I could feel him getting closer, could feel the pull of his scent, rain and night-blooming flowers, and something that made my chest ache. Please walk past me, please. He stopped, 3 feet away, and turned, directly toward me. My heart slammed against my ribs. The baby fluttered. Hajoon's eyes dropped to my stomach, then back to my face. I shoved my hands into my blazer pockets, partly to hide the trembling, partly because I'd learned the hard way not to touch things I shouldn't. Not since I was 16. Not since I touched my mother's wedding ring and saw her dying in a hospital bed 3 months before it happened. I didn't tell her, and I've regretted it every day since. My fingers brushed against something cold in my pocket. Wait, I didn't put anything in. The moment my skin made contact, the world lurched. A hospital room, sterile white, the smell of antiseptic, a man's voice, familiar, achingly familiar, saying, "I'm sorry, I can't do this." Hands signing papers, a door closing. Silence. I yanked my hand out of my pocket like I'd been burned. The object clattered to the floor. A silver cufflink. I didn't recognize it, but I recognized the feeling it carried. Guilt, fear, abandonment. Minho? I jerked my head up. Hajoon was staring at me, like he'd seen everything. "Are you all right?" he asked. "I'm fine." I wasn't fine. Before I could process what I'd just seen, "Him," Taejin said. Everyone's head snapped toward him. He was pointing, not at me, at the silver-haired Omega 2 people down. The moderator blinked. "Are you certain? Perhaps you'd like to—" "I'm certain." Sunghyun stepped forward, eyes still on me. "Actually, no." Taejin's voice cut through the room like a blade. "We agreed. I choose first, Sunghyun chooses second. Hajoon doesn't get a choice at all," Hajoon murmured. His gaze never left mine, and then he smiled. Slow. Dangerous. "I choose him." The room went silent. The moderator's face went pale. "I'm sorry, but—" "Him." Hajoon stepped closer, close enough that I could feel the heat of him, close enough that his scent wrapped around me like a vice. "What's your name?" "Minho." "Minho," he repeated, like he was tasting it. "You're pregnant." It wasn't a question. I swallowed hard. "Yes." "How far along?" 3 months. His eyes darkened. "And the father?" "Gone." Something shifted in his expression, not pity, not anger. Possession. He turned to face his brothers. "I choose him," he said again, louder this time. Final. Taejin's jaw clenched. "Hajoon, don't be stupid. He's pregnant." "I know." Hajoon's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Which makes him exactly what we need." Sunghyun stepped forward, gaze locked on me. "You're sure about this?" Hajoon didn't answer.
He extended his hand toward me. "Come here, Minho." I should have said no. I should have run. But my body moved before my brain could catch up, and when my hand touched his, the world tilted. His scent slammed into me like a wave. Cedar, smoke, rain, and underneath it all, home. But there was something else, something darker, a flash of memory that wasn't mine. Blood on white marble, a woman's scream, 3 boys standing over a body. I gasped and tried to pull back. Hajoon's fingers tightened around mine. "You're ours now." And I realized,
Terrified. I never had a choice at all.
the vision faded, but the aftershock didn't. Blood, screaming, 3 boys who grew into the men standing in front of me. My hand was still trapped in Hajoon's grip, and I could feel his pulse through his skin. Steady, calm, like he hadn't just dragged me into whatever nightmare I'd accidentally touched. "Let go." His thumb brushed over my knuckles. No. Oh, this guy was going to be a problem. I yanked my hand back hard enough that he actually had to release me, and I immediately regretted it because now the entire room was staring at us like we'd just announced we were running away to Jeju together. The moderator cleared her throat. Twice. "Mr. Jeon,
I must remind you that the selection process requires council approval before any, I don't care." Hajoon's voice was still soft, still polite, but there was steel underneath it now. "He's coming with us." Taejin exhaled through his nose like he was counting to 10 in 3 different languages. Sunghyun just watched me. Quiet. Calculating. "You realize he's carrying another alpha's child." "I have eyes, Hyung." "And you still want him?" Hajoon tilted his head. "Do you not?" Sunghyun's gaze flicked to me, then back to Hajoon. He didn't answer, which was an answer. Oh no, oh no, no, no. I took a step back and immediately bumped into the Omega behind me, a guy with perfectly styled hair who made a sound like I'd just ruined his entire existence. "Sorry," I muttered. He didn't respond. Rude. The moderator was saying something about protocols and paperwork and scheduled follow-ups, but I wasn't listening because Hajoon was moving again. Closer. Like he had every right to invade my personal space just because he'd pointed at me and said, "Mine," like I was a limited edition sneaker drop. I didn't agree to this. You didn't say no either. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to argue with 3 alpha CEOs in front of the entire Seoul Council? Let me just pull out my How to Reject Billionaires manual real quick. Hajoon's mouth twitched. "You're funny." I'm broke and pregnant. Humor is a survival mechanism. Sunhyun made a sound that might have been a laugh, might have been a cough. Hard to tell with him. Taejin just looked exhausted. "Hajoon," he said, voice tight. "We need to discuss this. Privately." There's nothing to discuss. He's not vetted. He's not council approved. And he's pregnant. Yes, we've established that. Hajoon finally looked away from me to face his oldest brother. "You chose the silver-haired Omega because the council told you to. Sunghyun will choose whoever makes the most political sense. I'm choosing him." "Why?" Taejin asked. Hajoon smiled. "Because I want to." Yeah, definitely a problem. The moderator stepped forward, tablet clutched to her chest like a shield. "Mr. John, if you insist on this selection, we'll need to conduct a full background check, medical evaluation, and financial audit before—" "Fine. Do it. It could take weeks. Then he stays with us until it's done." "Excuse me?" All 3 of them looked at me. I crossed my arms over my chest, ignoring the way my hands were still trembling. "I'm right here.
Maybe ask me what I want before you start planning my next few weeks like I'm a piece of furniture you just bought online. Silence. Then Sung-hyun spoke. What do you want, Minho? Loaded question. What did I want? I wanted to not be 3 months pregnant and alone. I wanted to stop working double shifts at a convenience store just to afford instant ramen. I wanted to stop waking up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat, wondering how I was going to afford a crib. But what I said was, I want to go home. Where's home? Hajoon asked. No one district, 40-minute subway ride, small apartment, shower that only works half the time. You wouldn't like it. Try me. I stared at him. He stared back. Why is he looking at me like that? Like I was something rare, something worth keeping. I hated it. Mostly because part of me wanted to believe it. Look, I said, softer now, tired. I appreciate the whole billionaire saves pregnant Omega thing you've got going on, but I'm not a charity case. I don't need saving. I'm not trying to save you. Then what are you trying to do? Hajoon stepped closer. Close enough that I could see the faint scar above his left eyebrow. Close enough that his scent wrapped around me again, warm and suffocating, and entirely too comfortable. I'm trying to keep you. My breath caught. The baby kicked. And for one terrible, wonderful moment, I wanted to let him. Then reality crashed back in. I shook my head and stepped back. I don't even know you. You will. That's not creepy at all. Sung-hyun actually smiled this time. Small, brief, but real. Tae-jin pinched the bridge of his nose. Hajoon, this is insane. Probably. Father's will states we need to choose a mate to secure succession, not collect strays. Stray? Did you just call me a stray? Tae-jin's eyes cut to me, cold, assessing. You're unbonded, pregnant with another alpha's child, working a minimum wage job in Nowon. No family connections, no political value. He paused. What exactly do you bring to this arrangement? Ouch. I mean, he wasn't wrong, but still, ouch. I opened my mouth to tell him exactly where he could shove his political value, but Hajoon moved first. He stepped between us, blocking Tae-jin's view of me entirely. Say that again, Hyung. Tae-jin didn't flinch. I'm being practical. You're being an asshole. Someone has to be. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Sung-hyun sighed. Both of you, stop. Neither of them moved. I could see the tension in Hajoon's shoulders, the way his hands had curled into fists. This is bad. And then, because I apparently had a death wish, I stepped around Hajoon and looked Tae-jin directly in the eye. You're right. I don't bring anything to this arrangement. No money, no connections, no political value. I paused. But I also didn't ask to be here. Your brother chose me. If that's a problem, take it up with him, not me. Silence. Tae-jin's jaw tightened. Then, slowly, he nodded. Fair enough. He turned and walked toward the door. Hajoon, Sung-hyun, we're leaving. Now. Sung-hyun followed without a word. Hajoon hesitated. His hand brushed against mine. Light, brief. I'll see you soon, Minho. What? But he was already walking away. The door closed behind them. And I stood there, alone in a room full of Omegas who were staring at me like I'd just detonated a bomb. The moderator approached, smile strained. Mr. Kang, we'll be in touch regarding your evaluation process. Great. Can't wait. She handed me a business card. I took it, and as I turned to leave, my fingers brushed against the edge of the card. The vision hit me like a freight train. Hajoon, younger, maybe 16, kneeling beside a hospital bed, holiday someone's hand, crying, "Don't leave me. Please don't leave me." The hand goes limp. The heart monitor flatlines. Hajoon doesn't move, doesn't breathe, doesn't let go. I dropped the card. It fluttered to the floor. What the hell was that? I bent down, picked it up carefully by the corner, and shoved it into my pocket. My heart was racing. My hands were shaking. And I had the terrible sinking feeling that choosing me wasn't random. Hajoon knew something. Something about me. Something I didn't even know about myself. And I was going to find out what. The subway ride back to Nowon took 43 minutes. I spent 42 of them trying not to think about the way Hajoon had looked at me. I failed. By the time I climbed the stairs to my fourth-floor apartment, my feet were screaming and my back was aching, and all I wanted was to collapse on my second-hand couch and pretend the last 2 hours hadn't happened. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and froze. You've got to be kidding me. Hajoon was sitting on my couch, in my apartment, drinking tea from one of my chipped mugs like he owned the place. "You're late. How did you get in here?" "Your landlord let me in." "Why would he—" I stopped, stared. "You bribed him." "I made a donation." "Oh, well, as long as it was a donation." I slammed the door shut and dropped my bag on the floor. "You can't just break into people's apartments." "I didn't break in. I was invited. By my landlord, who doesn't live here, so it doesn't count." Hajoon set the mug down on my coffee table, folded his hands in his lap, looked at me with those dark, unreadable eyes. "You ran." "I took the subway, like a normal person." "You left without saying goodbye." "We're not dating." "Not yet." "Not ever." He smiled. "We'll see." I wanted to throw something at him. Instead, I walked into my tiny kitchen and filled a glass with water. My hands were still shaking. From the visions. From his scent filling my apartment. From the fact that he was here, in my space, looking at me like I was the most interesting thing he'd seen all year. "Why did you choose me?" Silence. Then, "Because you looked like you were about to run." I turned. He was standing now, closer than before. "And I wanted to see if you would." That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now. I set the glass down before I dropped it. "You don't even know me." "I know you're scared." "I'm not scared." "You're terrified." He stepped closer. "You're 3 months pregnant, alone, working a job that barely pays rent, and you're convinced that if you let anyone help you, they'll leave the moment it gets hard." How did he... You don't know anything about me. "I know you shoved your hands in your pockets the moment I got close, like you were afraid of what you'd see if you touched me." Oh no, he noticed. I forced myself to breathe. "I don't know what you're talking about." Liar. "Get out." "No. This is my apartment. I'm telling you to leave. And I'm telling you I'm not going anywhere until you stop lying to both of us." I stared at him. He stared back. And then, because I was exhausted and scared and so tired of pretending I had everything under control, I said, "What do you want from me?" Hajoon's expression softened. "The truth." "About what?" "About why you're really here. Why you came to the selection when you clearly didn't want to be chosen. Why you're pregnant and alone and working yourself to death when you should be—" "Should be what?" I interrupted. Taken care of? Protected? Saved? I laughed, bitter. I don't need saving, Hajoon. I need to survive, and I've been doing that just fine on my own. Have you? I hated that question. Hated how easily he saw through me. I turned away.
My friend Jiho convinced me to go, said the stipend alone would cover 3 months of rent. I didn't think anyone would actually choose me. I just needed the money. Silence. Then Hajoon's hand touched my shoulder. Light. Careful. And now? Now I don't know what I need. His hand slid down my arm, stopped at my wrist. I jerked away before he could take my hand. Don't. Why not? Because I can't. I stopped, breathed. I just can't. Can't what? Touch you, see what you're hiding, know what you want from me. But I didn't say any of that. Instead, I said, you should go. Minho, please. He stepped back, slowly, like it hurt. I'll leave, but I'm coming back tomorrow. Why? Because you're mine now, and I take care of what's mine. I'm not yours. Hajoon smiled, sad, small. Not yet. He walked to the door, stopped, turned. The father of your baby, you said he left. Yeah, so? Do you know why? I hesitated. The vision I'd seen earlier flashed through my mind. The hospital, the voice. I'm sorry, I can't do this. No. Hajoon's eyes darkened. Would you want to? Would I? Part of me screamed yes. I deserved answers, closure, something other than a voicemail and an empty apartment. But another part of me whispered, what if the truth is worse? I don't know. Hajoon nodded. When you figure it out, tell me. Why? Because if you want him found, his voice dropped, cold, final. I'll find him. And then he left. The door clicked shut. I stood there in my tiny kitchen, alone again. But the apartment still smelled like him. Cedar, smoke, rain. What did I just get myself into? The baby kicked. I pressed my hand to my stomach. Yeah, I don't know either. The next morning, I woke up to someone knocking on my door. Ugh, loudly. I dragged myself out of bed, still wearing yesterday's clothes, and stumbled to the door, peered through the peephole. Oh, come on. I opened the door. Sunghyun stood in the hallway, perfectly dressed in a gray suit, holding 2 cups of coffee and a paper bag that smelled like fresh pastries. Good morning. Is it, though? He smiled, small, polite. May I come in? Do I have a choice? Not really. I stepped aside. He walked in, set the coffee and pastries on my counter, and looked around my apartment with the kind of clinical assessment that made me feel like I was being appraised. It's small. I'm aware. But clean. I have standards. He turned to face me. Hajoon said you might need convincing. Convincing of what? To move in with us. Absolutely not. It's temporary. I don't care if it's for 5 minutes. I'm not moving into some billionaire penthouse just because your brother decided I'm his new project. Sunghyun picked up one of the coffee cups and handed it to me. It's decaf. And it's not a penthouse. It's a house in Songbukdong. I took the coffee because I wasn't stupid. Free coffee was free coffee.
Why do you want me to move in?
Because the council requires close monitoring during the evaluation period, and because Hajoon won't stop talking about you. He won't? He mentioned you 43 times yesterday. You counted?
I count everything. Fair. I sipped the coffee. It was perfect. Of course it is. Look, I said, setting the cup down. I appreciate whatever this is, but I have a job, a life. I can't just drop everything because we'll pay you. I blinked. What? A living stipend. 50 million won. 50 per month. I sat down, hard, on my couch. That's insane. That's the standard rate for contracted mates during evaluation. I'm not a contracted mate.
I'm a guy your brother pointed at. Sung-hyun sat down across from me, folded his hands, looked at me with those sharp, calculating eyes. Minho, you're 3 months pregnant, working 2 jobs, living in an apartment with no heat and a shower that doesn't work half the time. He paused. You can keep pretending you don't need help, or you can take it. I wanted to argue, but he was right, and I hated it. What's the catch? No catch. You live with us. You attend council meetings. You let us make sure you and the baby are healthy and safe. That's it. That's it? That's it. I didn't believe him, but 50 million won a month? That was 3 years of rent, diapers, formula, a crib that didn't come from a second-hand store. I need to think about it. You have until tomorrow. That's not a lot of time. Sung-hyun stood, straightened his jacket. Hajoon wanted to give you an hour. Of course he did. He walked to the door, stopped, turned. He's not going to hurt you, Minho. How do you know? Because I've never seen him care about anything the way he cares about you. And then he left. I sat there, alone, again, with 50 million won a month hanging in the air, and a choice I wasn't ready to make. My phone buzzed. I pulled it out of my pocket, expecting Jiho's daily "Are you still alive?" text. Instead, it was an unknown number. The car will pick you up at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Pack light. Everything else will be provided. I stared at the screen. To myself, unbelievable. Another buzz. This is Hajoon, by the way. Me. How did you get my number? Hajoon. Your landlord. Me. Of course he did. Hajoon. He also said your rent is 3 months overdue. I stopped typing, stared at the screen. Oh my God. Hajoon. It's been handled. Me. What do you mean it's been handled? Hajoon. I paid it. Me. You can't just pay my rent without asking. Hajoon. I can, and I did. Me. That's not how this works. Hajoon. How what works? Me. Boundaries, consent, basic human decency. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Hajoon. You needed help. I helped. That's how it works for me. I wanted to throw my phone across the room. Instead, I took a deep breath, counted to 5, and typed, I didn't ask you to save me. I know, but I'm going to anyway. My chest tightened. I set the phone down before I said something I'd regret, or worse, before I said, thank you. Because part of me was grateful, and I hated that. I hated how easy it would be to let him take care of everything, to stop fighting, to just let go. But the last time I let someone take care of me, he disappeared the second things got hard. We're not doing that again. The baby kicked in response. I pressed my hand to my stomach. We're going to be okay. Just you and me. My phone buzzed again. I ignored it, stood up, walked to my bedroom, and started packing. Because 50 million won a month wasn't about pride.
It was about survival. And I'd learned a long time ago that survival meant swallowing your pride and doing what you had to do, even if it meant living with 3 alpha strangers who looked at me like I was a puzzle they couldn't solve. I pulled my suitcase out from under the bed and started folding clothes. My hand brushed against something cold. I stopped, pulled it out. A ring. Silver. Simple. Worn at the edges. The one thing my ex had left behind. I'd found it under the couch 2 weeks after he disappeared, shoved it in a drawer and tried to forget about it. But here it was, in my hand. Don't. But I was already touching it, skin to metal, and the vision slammed into me. A hospital waiting room, fluorescent lights, beige walls. My ex sitting with his head in his hands. A doctor approaches. I'm sorry. The pregnancy is high risk. There's a chance of complications. My ex looks up, fear in his eyes. What kind of complications? We won't know until further along, but I need you to understand, carrying to term could be dangerous. For both of them. My ex stands, walks out, doesn't look back. I dropped the ring. It hit the floor with a soft clink. My hands were shaking, my vision blurred. He knew. He knew the pregnancy was risky. He knew I could get hurt, and he left anyway. Not because he didn't care, because he was scared. Coward. I picked up the ring with shaking fingers, walked to the window, and threw it as hard as I could into the alley below. It disappeared into the dark, just like him. I leaned my forehead against the cold glass and closed my eyes.
I'm not going to die.
The baby kicked. Harder this time. We're both going to be fine. I had to believe that, because if I didn't, I'd fall apart. And I couldn't afford to fall apart, not now, not when 3 alphas were watching. My phone buzzed again. I picked it up. Hajoon, are you okay? How did he know? Me, I'm fine. Hajoon, liar. Me, how would you even know? Hajoon, I can feel it. I stared at the screen. Feel what? The phone rang. Hajoon's name lit up the screen. I answered. What do you want? His voice was soft, worried. What happened? Nothing. Minho. I said I'm fine. Silence. Then, you're crying. I touched my cheek, wet. I'm not. You are. I sat down on the edge of my bed, hard. How do you know? Silence. Then, so quiet I almost missed it. Because I feel it every time you hurt. My breath caught. That's not possible. I know. Then how? I don't know. His voice cracked slightly. But I do. I didn't know what to say, didn't know how to process that. So I said, I found something. From my ex. Silence. Then, what was it? A ring. And a memory. What did you see? He left because he was scared. The pregnancy? It's high risk. The doctor told him I could get hurt. And he ran. Silence. Long. Heavy. Then Hajoon's voice, so cold it sent a shiver down my spine. What's his name? Why? Because I'm going to find him. Hajoon, don't. What's his name? Park Ji-won. Silence. Then, I'll handle it. Handle what? What are you going to do? Nothing you need to worry about. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. Hajoon, get some sleep, Minho. The car will be there at 8. I didn't agree to, you will. And he hung up. I stared at my phone. Infuriating alpha bastard. But I was smiling. Just a little. I didn't sleep. By the time 8 a.m. rolled around, I'd showered, packed, unpacked, repacked, and nearly called the whole thing off 6 different times. But when the black car pulled up outside my building, I grabbed my suitcase and went downstairs. Because 50 million won. And because I was curious. Okay, mostly because of the money, but also a little bit curious. The driver was an older beta man who smiled politely and took my suitcase without a word. The car was ridiculous. Leather seats, tinted windows, a mini fridge stocked with water and juice. Rich people are weird. We drove through Seoul in silence. I watched the city blur past. Convenience stores, coffee shops, street vendors setting up for the morning rush. Normal life. The kind I was about to leave behind. This is temporary, just until the evaluation is over. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror. First time in Songbuk-dong? Yeah. It's nice, quiet, good for families. Families. Right. I pressed my hand to my stomach. The baby was quiet this morning, almost like they knew things were changing. We pulled up to a gate, tall, black, intimidating. The driver pressed a button and it swung open. The house beyond was...
Holy shit. It wasn't a house. It was an estate. 3 stories, stone and glass, surrounded by gardens that looked like they required a full-time staff. The car stopped in front of the main entrance. The driver opened my door. Welcome home, Mr. Kang. This isn't my home. He smiled. Not yet. Before I could respond, the front door opened. Hajoon stepped out, barefoot, wearing sweatpants and a black t-shirt, hair still damp from a shower. He looked human, almost normal, until he smiled. You came. You paid my rent, didn't leave me much choice. He walked down the steps, stopped in front of me, close enough that I could smell his scent again. You always have a choice, Minho. Then why does it feel like you're not giving me one? His smile faded. Because I'm selfish, and I want you here. Honest, raw. I didn't know what to do with that, so I looked away. Where's Taejin? Sunghyun? Working. They'll be back tonight. So it's just us? Is that a problem? Yes. No. Maybe. I don't know yet. Hajoon picked up my suitcase like it weighed nothing. Come on, I'll show you your room. He led me inside. The interior was somehow more intimidating than the exterior. High ceilings, marble floors, art that probably cost more than my entire existence. This is insane. You'll get used to it. I don't want to get used to it. He glanced back at me. Why not? Because this isn't my world, and pretending it is, that's how people get hurt. He stopped, set my suitcase down, turned to face me. Who hurt you?
Minho? Everyone. No one. Myself, mostly. But I didn't say that. Instead, I said, people leave. That's what they do. Getting comfortable just makes it worse when they go. Hajoon stepped closer. I'm not leaving. You don't know that. Yes, I do. How? He reached out, slowly, giving me time to pull away. His fingers brushed against mine. Because I've been looking for you my entire life, and now that I've found you, I'm not letting go. My breath caught. The baby kicked, hard. I gasped and pressed my hand to my stomach. Hajoon's eyes widened. Are you okay? Yeah, just the baby. Can I? He gestured to my stomach. I hesitated, because touching meant visions, and I wasn't ready to see what he was hiding. But he looked so hopeful, so careful.
Okay. He placed his hand over mine, warm, steady, and I braced myself for the vision. But nothing came. Just warmth. Just his hand over mine. Just the baby kicking beneath both our palms. Hajoon's expression softened. That's weird. Beautiful. I looked up at him. He was staring at my stomach like it was the most precious thing he'd ever seen. You're going to be a good father. His eyes snapped to mine. I'm not, I know, but you could be. His hand tightened over mine, just slightly. What if I'm not enough? What if you are? Silence. Then he leaned forward, slowly. So slowly I could have stopped him, should have stopped him, but I didn't. His forehead rested against mine. Let me try, Minho. Let me prove I'm not going anywhere. And for the first time since my ex left, I wanted to believe someone. Okay. His breath hitched. Yeah? Yeah. And then he kissed me. Soft. Careful. Like I might break. Like I was something worth keeping. I kissed him back. And for one perfect, terrifying moment, I let myself believe it. The kiss ended. Hajoon pulled back, eyes searching mine. Was that okay? Yeah. He smiled, real, genuine. And I realized I was in so much trouble. Before I could say anything, footsteps echoed from upstairs. We both turned. Taejin stood at the top of the staircase, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Hajoon, a word. Hajoon's hand slipped from mine. I'll be right back. Okay. He walked upstairs. I stood there in the massive entryway, alone again, and tried not to panic. I failed. My phone buzzed. Jiho, did you really move in with 3 billionaire alphas? Me, how did you find out? Jiho, it's all over the news. What? I pulled up a news site and there it was, front page. John Triplets choose controversial Omega mate. Below it, a photo of me leaving the selection hall, looking exhausted and out of place. Oh no. I scrolled down. The article was worse. Sources confirm the youngest John brother has chosen an unknown Omega with no family connections, no political standing, and allegedly pregnant with another Alpha's child. My hands started shaking. Critics question whether this choice was made strategically or emotionally, with some suggesting. I stopped reading, dropped my phone, and sat down hard on the marble floor. This was a mistake. Footsteps, fast. Hajoon appeared in front of me, kneeling. What happened? I couldn't speak, just handed him my phone. He read. His expression went cold. I'll handle this. Handle what? It's already out there. Everyone knows. Minho. They're right. I don't belong here. I'm nobody. Just some pregnant Omega you decided to collect because what? You felt sorry for me? Hajoon grabbed my hands. Look at me. I didn't. Minho, look at me. I looked up. His eyes were fierce. You're not nobody. You're mine, and anyone who says otherwise will regret it. You can't just watch me. He stood, pulled out his phone, made a call. Into the phone. Take it down, all of it. I don't care what it costs. Silence. I said take it down, now. He hung up, looked at me. It's handled. You can't just erase the internet. I can try. Footsteps behind him. Tae-jin appeared again, this time with Sung-hyun. Both looked grim. We need to talk. Now. Hajoon didn't move. Not now. Yes, now. Tae-jin's voice was sharp. The council is demanding a meeting. They're threatening to void the entire selection. My stomach dropped. What? Sung-hyun stepped forward. They're claiming Hajoon violated protocol by choosing someone who wasn't vetted. They want Minho removed from the process. Oh. Hajoon turned to his brothers. Then we fight them. We can't fight the entire council. Watch me. Tae-jin's jaw tightened. This isn't about pride, Hajoon. This is about the company, Father's will, everything we've worked for. I don't care. You should. I don't care. Silence. Hajoon's chest was heaving. His hands were shaking. And I realized he was willing to lose everything. For me, someone he barely knew. Hajoon. He turned. Don't do this. Do what? Throw everything away for someone like me. His expression cracked. Someone like you? I'm not worth it. He crossed the distance between us in 2 steps, grabbed my face in both hands. You're worth everything. Tears spilled down my cheeks. You don't even know me. Then let me. I can't. Why not? Because everyone I let in leaves, and I can't do that again. Hajoon's thumb brushed away my tears. I'm not him, Minho. How do I know that? You don't. But I'm asking you to trust me anyway. Behind him, Tae-jin spoke. The council meeting is in 2 hours. We need a decision. Hajoon didn't look away from me. Minho stays. Hajoon. I said he stays. Sung-hyun stepped forward. Then we fight together. Tae-jin closed his eyes, exhaled. Fine. But if this destroys everything, it's on you. Hajoon finally looked at his brothers. I know. And then he looked back at me. We'll figure this out. Together. I wanted to believe him. But as I stood there, surrounded by 3 alphas willing to fight the world for me, all I could think was, what happens when they realize I'm not worth the fight? The question hung in the air between us like smoke. Hajoon's hands were still on my face, his eyes searching mine like he could read every doubt swimming through my head. Stop. Stop what? Thinking you're not enough. His thumbs brushed my cheekbones. You are. You're more than enough. I wanted to argue, wanted to list all the reasons why this was insane, why I was the worst possible choice, why he should walk away before this got worse. But Tae-jin spoke first. We have 90 minutes before the council meeting. Hajoon, get dressed. Sung-hyun, call our legal team. I'll handle damage control. He turned to leave, stopped, looked back at me. Can you handle a room full of old men questioning every aspect of your existence? I straightened my spine, met his gaze. I've worked retail during holiday season. I think I can handle some judgmental alphas. Sung-hyun made that sound again. Definitely a laugh this time. Even Tae-jin's mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. Good. You'll need that attitude. He glanced at Hajoon. Get him ready, and for God's sake, find him something to wear that doesn't look like he raided a college student's closet. Hey, I happen to like my clothes. I'm sure you do.
Taejin's eyes swept over my faded jeans and oversized hoodie. But the council won't. And then he was gone. Sunghyun followed, already on his phone, voice low and clipped as he spoke to someone about legal precedents and contractual obligations, leaving me alone with Hajoon. Again. He was still holding my face, still looking at me like I was the only person in the world. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do." "No." I reached up, wrapped my fingers around his wrists. "You could tell them I left, that I changed my mind. Walk away and choose someone else, someone who makes sense." His eyes darkened. "I don't want someone who makes sense." "Hajoon." "I want you." His voice dropped lower. "Only you." My breath caught. The baby kicked, sharp, insistent, like they were agreeing with him. "Why?" "Because—" He hesitated, like he was trying to find the right words. "Because the moment I saw you, something in me recognized something in you." That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. His forehead touched mine again. I can't explain it. I just know that letting you walk away would be the biggest mistake of my life. I closed my eyes, breathed him in. Cedar and smoke and rain and something underneath it all that felt like safety, like home. I'm scared. I know. What if I mess this up? Then we fix it. What if I can't? Then we fix it anyway. I opened my eyes. He was smiling. Small, sad, real. You're not alone anymore, Minho. Stop acting like you are. And something in my chest cracked. Not broke. Opened. Like a door I'd kept locked for so long I'd forgotten what was on the other side. Okay. Okay? I'll try. To trust you, to stay. Hajoon's smile widened. Genuine. Devastating. And then he kissed me again. Deeper this time. Less careful. More desperate. Like he was trying to pour every promise he couldn't say into that single moment. I kissed him back. Let myself fall into it. Just for a second. Just long enough to believe. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. We should probably get ready. Probably. Neither of us moved. Then, footsteps on the stairs. We jumped apart like teenagers caught making out. Sunghyun appeared, holding a garment bag. He looked at both of us, at our flushed faces, our slightly swollen lips. How professional. We were just, I don't need details. He held out the garment bag to me. Taejin had this sent over. It should fit. I took it, unzipped it. Inside was a suit, charcoal gray, perfectly tailored. Probably cost more than my entire wardrobe combined. I can't wear this. You can and you will. Sunghyun checked his watch. You have 45 minutes. Shower, change, meet us downstairs. He left before I could argue. I looked down at the suit, then at Hajoon. This is really happening, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know how to do this, the whole rich person thing. Hajoon stepped closer, took my hand. Just be yourself. That's all I need you to be. A broke, pregnant, sarcastic Omega with trust issues? Exactly that. He squeezed my hand. I'll be right there with you, the whole time. Promise? Promise. And somehow, that made it bearable. I went upstairs, found the room Hajoon pointed me to. It was bigger than my entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a bed that could fit 5 people, a bathroom with a shower that had more settings than my TV.
Rich people are definitely weird.
I showered quickly, changed into the suit. It fit perfectly. Too perfectly, like it had been made specifically for me. I stared at myself in the mirror. I looked different, put together, like someone who belonged in a place like this. Fake it till you make it. The baby kicked. I pressed my hand to my stomach. We've got this. I didn't believe it, but I said it anyway. I walked downstairs. All three of them were waiting. Taejin in a black suit, Sunghyun in navy, Hajoon in charcoal that matched mine. They all turned when they heard me. Hajoon's eyes went wide. You look uncomfortable. Beautiful. My face went hot. Taejin cleared his throat. The cars are waiting. Minho, you'll ride with Hajoon and me. Sunghyun will meet us there. Why are we splitting up? Optics. Sunghyun adjusted his cufflinks. If we all arrive together, it looks defensive. This way, it looks strategic. You people are exhausting. Sunghyun smiled. You'll fit in perfectly. We filed out to the waiting cars. Black, sleek, identical, like something out of a movie. I climbed into the back seat. Hajoon slid in beside me. Taejin took the front passenger seat. The driver pulled away from the house. I watched Seoul pass by through tinted windows. The city looked different from here, distant.
Like I was watching it through glass instead of living in it. What happens if they say no? If they refuse to approve me?
Hajoon's hand found mine in the space between us.
Then we fight. And if we lose?
His fingers tightened around mine. We won't.
How do you know?
He turned to look at me, eyes dark and serious and full of something that made my chest ache. Because losing you isn't an option. Taejin spoke from the front seat without turning around. The council will ask invasive questions about your past, your pregnancy, your ability. I froze. My what? Silence. Hajoon's hand tightened around mine. They know about the psychometry.
How?
Taejin finally turned around, met my eyes.
Because we told them.
The world tilted.
You... what?
We had to disclose any potential complications. Taejin's expression was unreadable. Your ability qualifies. That wasn't your secret to tell! No. His voice was calm. Too calm. But it was necessary. I turned to Hajoon. You knew about this? He didn't answer, which was an answer.
You said I could trust you.
You can.
Then why does it feel like you're already lying to me?
The car went silent, heavy. Hajoon's hand was still wrapped around mine, but suddenly it felt like a trap instead of comfort. I pulled away, pressed myself against the door, as far from him as I could get in the enclosed space. Don't touch me. Minho, I said don't. He pulled back, hurt flashing across his face. Good. He should hurt. They all should. Taejin turned back around.
We're here.
The car stopped. Outside the window, a massive building loomed. Glass and steel and power. The council headquarters. My hands started shaking. The baby kicked, hard, like they could feel my panic.
I can't do this.
The driver opened my door. Cold air rushed in. I didn't move. Couldn't move. Hajoon leaned closer, not touching, just close enough that I could feel the heat of him.
I'm sorry. I should have told you. But Minho, you need to know that everything I've done has been to protect you.
I looked at him, really looked, and saw the truth in his eyes. He wasn't lying. But he wasn't telling me everything either.
What else aren't you telling me?
He hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. There's more. Minho, tell me. Not here. After the meeting. Tell me now. Taejin spoke from outside the car. We're out of time. Whatever this is, it needs to wait. I looked at Hajoon, then at the building, then back at Hajoon, and made a choice. After the meeting, you tell me everything, or I walk. His eyes widened. You'd leave? In a heartbeat. Lie, complete lie, but he didn't need to know that. Okay, after the meeting, I'll tell you everything. Promise? Promise. I took a breath, straightened my spine, and stepped out of the car. Into whatever hell was waiting for me inside.
The council chamber was exactly what I expected. Cold, imposing, designed to make you feel small. Long table, 12 seats, all filled with older alphas in expensive suits who looked at me like I was something they'd scraped off their shoes. Breathe. You've got this. I didn't have this. But I walked to the center of the room anyway. Hajoon stayed close, so close I could feel him at my back. Taejin and Sunghyun flanked us, a united front, even if it felt like a fragile one. The alpha at the head of the table stood, gray hair, sharp eyes, voice like gravel. Kang Minho, you stand before this council to be evaluated as a potential mate to Jeon Hajoon, third son of the Jeon family. I nodded, because my voice had apparently abandoned me. You are aware that this selection process requires full disclosure. Metahistory, financial status, familial connections. Another nod. And you are aware that you possess an ability classified as psychometry. Every muscle in my body tensed. Yes. Have you used this ability on any member of the Jeon family? Lie. I could lie, say no, walk away clean. But Hajoon's hand brushed against my lower back, light, grounding, and I remembered his promise. I'll be right there with you. Yes. Murmurs around the table. The head alpha's eyes narrowed. And what did you see? I looked at Hajoon. He nodded. Permission. Blood. A woman screaming. 3 boys standing over a body. The room went silent. Deathly silent. Then one of the council members stood. This is exactly why he cannot be approved. He has access to private family information. Traumatic memories. He's a liability. Another alpha nodded. Agreed. The risk is too high. He could be used against the family. Or he could use the information himself. My chest tightened. This was it. They were going to reject me, send me back to no one. Back to my crappy apartment and my overdue rent and my borrowed clothes. Back to being alone. Hajoon stepped forward. He stays. Mr. John, you must understand. I understand perfectly. His voice cut through the room like a blade. You're scared. Scared of what he might know. Scared of what he might see. Scared that someone outside your control might have power you can't manipulate. That's not, but here's what you need to understand. Hajoon moved to stand beside me. Minho isn't a threat. He's not a liability. He's my choice. And I will burn this entire council to the ground before I let you take him from me. Silence. Then Taejin spoke. My brother is being dramatic, but he's not wrong. He looked at each council member in turn. Father's will states we must choose a mate. It doesn't specify who. Minho meets all legal requirements. His ability, while unusual, is not illegal.
And frankly, gentlemen, you don't have grounds to deny this selection. Sang Hyun stepped forward. Unless you'd like us to challenge the council's authority in court, I have 3 law firms on retainer who would be very interested in that case. The head alpha's jaw tightened. This is highly irregular. So was forcing us into this selection in the first place. Taejin's voice was ice. Yet here we are. Long silence. The council members exchanged looks, whispered conversations. I stood there, heart pounding, hands shaking, trying not to throw up. Finally, the head alpha spoke. Very well. The selection is approved. Provisionally. Provisionally? Hajoon's voice was dangerous. There will be a probationary period, 6 months, during which Mr. Kang will be monitored. If at any point his ability is used inappropriately, this approval will be revoked. I waited for Hajoon to argue, to fight, but instead he said, acceptable. And just like that, it was over. We were dismissed. I walked out of that chamber on shaking legs, didn't breathe until we were back in the car. The doors closed, the engine started, and I finally let myself feel it. We won. Hajoon turned to me, smiled,
Real and bright and devastating. We won. And then he kissed me, right there in the back of the car with Taejin in the front seat pretending he couldn't see us and the driver studiously watching the road. I kissed him back, harder this time, desperate, grateful, terrified. When we broke apart, I was crying. You promised you'd tell me everything. His smile faded. I know. So tell me, what else are you hiding? He took my hand, pressed it to his chest, right over his heart. The vision you saw, the blood, the woman. That was our mother. My breath caught. She died when we were 12. An accident, or that's what they told us. His voice cracked, but I've never believed it. And when I saw you, when I felt your ability, I thought maybe you could help me find out the truth. You chose me because of my ability? No. His hand tightened around mine. I chose you because of you. But I won't lie and say your ability didn't make me notice you first. That's manipulative, I know. And I'm sorry. I should have been angry, should have pulled away, but all I felt was tired and, strangely, understood. What do you want from me? The truth, about what happened to her, and he hesitated. I want you to stay, not because I need your ability, but because I need you. Why? Because you're the first person in 10 years who's made me feel like I'm not drowning. And there it was, the real truth, raw, honest, breakable. I pressed my forehead to his. Okay. Okay. I'll stay. I'll help you. But Hajoon, no more secrets. No more secrets. Promise? Promise. And this time, I believed him. The car pulled up to the house. We went inside. Taejin disappeared into his office. Sung-hyun went to make phone calls. And Hajoon led me upstairs, to a room I hadn't seen yet. He opened the door. This is yours, if you want it. I stepped inside. It was perfect. Warm, comfortable, not too big, not too small. A window overlooking the gardens, a bed that looked like a cloud, and on the nightstand, a single photo frame. Empty. Waiting. When did you? This morning, while you were packing. He stepped closer. I wanted you to have a space that was yours.
no matter what happens. I turned to face him. What happens now? Now we figure it out.
Together. And the mating bond? Only if you want it. Do you? He cupped my face in his hands. More than anything. Then ask me. Minho, will you bond with me? I should have said no, should have taken more time, should have been smart, but instead I said, yes. And when he kissed me this time, I felt it, the bond, snapping into place, like a door locking, like coming home, like everything I'd been running from finally catching up. And I wasn't scared anymore. Epilogue. Months later. The morning sun filtered through the curtains of our bedroom, painting everything in shades of gold. Our bedroom. Still felt weird to say that. I shifted carefully, trying not to wake the alpha currently wrapped around me like a particularly possessive octopus. Hajoon, you're crushing me. Don't care. The baby's kicking. He was awake instantly, hand sliding over my very pregnant stomach with the kind of reverence that still made my chest tight. 6 months of this and I still wasn't used to it. The tenderness, the care, the way all three of them looked at me like I was something precious. Strong kick. He gets it from you. Or from you. Hajoon pressed a kiss to my shoulder. You're the stubborn one. Says the man who once threatened to buy an entire subway line because I complained about my commute. I didn't threaten. I made a very reasonable offer. To the city of Seoul. Exactly, reasonable. I laughed. Real, bright, easy. The kind of laugh I didn't know I could make 6 months ago. Hajoon's arms tightened around me. I love that sound. What sound? You. Happy. My throat went tight. I am happy. Good. He nuzzled into my neck. That's all I want. Liar. You also want coffee and those pastries Sunghyun keeps hiding from you. Those too. A knock on the door. If you two are done being disgustingly domestic, breakfast is ready. Sunghyun, always punctual. Always slightly judgmental about how long we stayed in bed. We'll be down in 5 minutes. You said that 20 minutes ago. Hajoon groaned into my shoulder. He's not wrong. He's never wrong. It's annoying. Come on, before he sends Taejin up here. We got up. Well, Hajoon got up. I kind of rolled out of bed like a very pregnant whale and immediately regretted all my life choices. Ugh, why is everything so far away? Hajoon appeared at my side instantly, hands gentle on my arms helping me stand. You okay? I'm fine, just large, and tired, and hungry. And did I mention large? You're beautiful. I'm huge. Beautifully huge. I looked up at him. He was smiling, that soft, private smile that was just for me. You're ridiculous. You love it. Yeah, I do. We made our way downstairs, slowly, because stairs were the enemy now. The kitchen smelled like fresh coffee and something sweet and buttery. Taejin was already at the table, reading the financial news on his tablet. Sunghyun was plating food with the kind of precision that suggested he'd missed his calling as a chef. Finally. Sorry, someone wouldn't let me out of bed. Hajoon pulled out my chair. I have no idea what you're talking about. Taejin snorted. Sunghyun set a plate in front of me. Eggs, toast, fruit cut into perfect pieces, and a small dish of kimchi, because he'd learned I craved it at weird hours. Thank you. He squeezed my shoulder, brief, gentle, his way of saying, you're welcome, without actually saying it. This was my life now. Breakfasts with 3 alphas who'd somehow become my family. A house that felt like home.
a future that didn't terrify me anymore. Taejin set down his tablet. The council sent the final approval this morning. I looked up.
And? You're officially cleared. No more probationary period, no more monitoring. Relief flooded through me. 6 months of proving I wasn't a threat. 6 months of careful distance and monitored conversations. Finally over. Hajoon's hand found mine under the table, squeezed. Told you. You did. Sunghyun sat down across from us. Does this mean we can stop pretending we're not completely invested in this relationship? Taejin raised an eyebrow. We were pretending? You were. Badly. I looked between them. Wait, what? Sunghyun smiled. Small. Genuine. We bonded with you 3 months ago, Minho. The council approval was just a formality. My brain short-circuited. You... what? Hajoon had the grace to look slightly sheepish. Surprise? How did I not notice I bonded with 2 additional alphas? You were very pregnant and very tired. Taejin's mouth twitched. And we were very subtle. Subtle. Very. I stared at all 3 of them, and then I started laughing. Because, of course they'd bonded with me without telling me. Of course they'd just decided I was theirs and made it happen. You're all insane. Hajoon grinned. You love us anyway. And he was right. I did. Somewhere between the council meetings and the late-night cravings and the moments when one of them would find me crying over nothing and just hold me without asking why, I'd fallen completely, irreversibly in love with all 3 of them. Yeah, I do. Sunghyun's expression softened. Taejin's shoulders relaxed, and Hajoon looked like I'd just given him the world.
Say it again. I love you. All of you.
Hajoon kissed me. Soft, sweet, perfect. When we broke apart, Taejin was watching us with something almost like fondness, and Sunghyun was definitely smiling now. Well, now that we've established that, he pushed a small box across the table. We got you something. What is it? Open it. I opened the box. Inside was a key, silver, delicate, attached to a simple chain. What's this for? Taejin spoke. The house, officially. Your name is on the deed now. I looked up sharply. You... what? It's your home, Minho. Sunghyun's voice was gentle. Not ours, not temporarily. Yours. Tears blurred my vision. I can't... That's too much. It's not enough. Hajoon's hand tightened around mine. It'll never be enough for what you've given us. I haven't given you anything. You gave us a family. Taejin's voice was rough. A real one. That's everything. I couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. So I just held the key and cried. Happy tears this time. The kind that didn't hurt. Hajoon pulled me into his lap, careful of my stomach, let me cry into his shoulder while Sunghyun rubbed my back, and Taejin pretended very hard not to look emotional. When I finally calmed down, I pulled back. You're all ridiculous. You've mentioned that. Hajoon wiped my tears with his thumbs. Multiple times. And you're stuck with me now. Good. The baby kicked, hard enough that all 3 of them felt it. Sunghyun's hand joined Hajoon's on my stomach, then Taejin's. All 3 of them. Connected. He's going to be so loved. He already is. And I believed it. Believed in this, in us, in the family we were building. 6 months ago, I was alone, scared, convinced I wasn't worth saving. Now, I was here, surrounded by three alphas who'd chosen me, who'd fought for me, who loved me exactly as I was, broken pieces and all.
Thank you. Hajoon kissed my forehead. For what? For not walking past me. His arms tightened around me. I could never walk past you, Minho. You're everything I've been looking for my entire life. Even though I'm sassy and stubborn and make terrible jokes? Especially because of that. Sang-hyun stood, refilled everyone's coffee.
Now that we've had our emotional moment, can we discuss nursery colors? Because Hajoon wants to paint everything black, and I'm vetoing that immediately. Black is sophisticated. Black is depressing. It's a statement. The statement is, I don't understand children. I laughed, again, because this was my life now. Arguments about nursery colors. Three overprotective alphas who couldn't agree on anything except that I was theirs. A baby on the way, a home that was actually mine, and a future that finally felt possible. I love you. They all stopped, turned to look at me, and said in perfect unison, we love you too. And I knew with absolute certainty that I was finally home. The end. Minho and his three alpha mates lived happily in their Songbuk-dong home. Their son, born 2 months later, was named Kang Minho. He inherited his father's sass, Hajoon's smile, Sung-hyun's intelligence, and Taejin's stubbornness. The mystery of the triplets' mother was eventually solved, with Minho's help and his psychometry ability, bringing closure and justice to their family. The council, seeing the strength of their bond and the stability they brought to Jeon Industries, eventually became their strongest supporters. And Minho never worked another retail shift again, though he did occasionally threaten to when his mates got too overprotective. Park Ji-won was found. He apologized. Minho forgave him, from a distance, and moved on. Because some chapters close, so new ones can begin. And this family? They were just beginning.